everyone, and welcome to another Jet Set Live with our European correspondent, Mark Edwards, joining us from the beautiful island of Mallorca. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Great to see you, Nikki. Hello, everybody, wherever you are, America, Canada, the Caribbean, international. My mates in Mallorca and the UK. Hi, everybody.
Mark, what is that kind of amazing structure that is over your shoulder there? What is that?
You're not going to believe it, actually. It's pretty cool. It is the King's Palace.
Whoa.
So the King of Spain, that's his summer residence. So literally once a year, he comes over and it's all shut down. The public garden there is open for everybody. But during the months, mainly July and August, it's shut down, it's barricaded, and then you can't go in. But yeah, the King lives just behind me.
When he's not in residence, is it a museum? Can you go visit?
Not really. You have to have special permission, but it's just the gardens itself you can go around. But they're beautiful. It's a really nice escape.
Well, that's a nice view to have in your.
It's not bad. Can you see the sea beyond it?
It's a little hazy.
It is hazy.
I can't see so much, but I can feel it. I can feel it.
Breathe in the sea, the smell of the sea. Yeah.
So we are in week 482 of lockdown quarantine. So let's talk today about our experiences. Some of our travel experiences that have just changed our lives, maybe changed our attitude, maybe changed our perspective, changed our hearts. You and I have been able to really travel to some incredible places, and this time has really been a time of maybe like insight and reflection about the people that we've met in all of our journeys. So share with our viewers some of your experiences. I know that you have a favorite one in Brazil. Just tell us about your favorite experiences.
I will do, and I hope as we share, Nikki, people feel as though they're there with us experiencing it and sort of begin to reflect on their own magical experiences, because for me, the fancy hotels and the flights, that's all great, but actually it's the moments that move you that really I look back on really, really fondly. So we were just talking before, and this experience in Brazil did really help to shape me. I was living in Rio for about 8 months, Rio and Salvador in Brazil. This is about 12, 13 years ago, and half that time was in Rio, and I lived quite near Copacabana. And I lived with what's called a host. I lived with what's called a host mum and dad. These are people you'd stay with to really expedite your learning of the language. I'd never learned a foreign language before. So to me, it was a really big deal to try to learn Portuguese. I only spoke English. So every day I went to language school and I lived with them, and we spoke in the best Portuguese I could muster, which was painful. And they had a son and a daughter I got friendly with as well. We'd only speak in Portuguese. And I was determined to say yes to every opportunity that presented itself. And one day, the lady, she said to me, it's my, and just to paint the picture, she was black and her husband was white. And she said to me, I would like to invite you to my niece's birthday, which is in that favela over there. And I knew that favela was one of the most dangerous in Brazil. And with this kind of mindset, I said yes straight away. But I was really kind of nervous. So I went with her and her husband. But apart from her husband, I was the only white person in the small group to go up. So she gave us quite specific instructions. She said, when we go up to the favela, stick with me, like hold on to me, make it clear that you're with me, right? So we started to go up. It's literally the side of a mountain, and we saw two men heavily armed with machine guns. That was a bloody hell, this is the heart-stopping moment. And I was just like, I nodded to him, and he nodded to me. We carried on, and eventually we came to her niece's hut, and that's the best way to describe it. Because we walked in, and there wasn't really a floorboard, it was just hard mud. And the walls were just made of plastic and kind of temporary structures. And the roof had this kind of tin roof. Anyway, they'd prepared this food and this banquet. And here's the point, Nikki, the smiles on people's faces was absolutely extraordinary. They couldn't have been happier to have a visitor who wanted to come and say hi and celebrate. And the generosity they had to share whatever they had with me and with the other visitors was incredible. And then they put the music on, and somehow there was the resources for a huge vault, like massive deck of sound. And they started playing samba. And the little girl, who was about 6, and all her friends started to dance samba with the most amazing rhythm and sense of timing I've ever seen. Like professional, like incredible.
And so happy.
Sorry?
And so happy.
Unbelievably happy. And as I'm saying it to you out loud now, I'm just thinking, oh my God, I need to relearn this because what they had and how happy they were with what they had was incredible.
Mark, did they teach some dance moves?
They did, Nikki, and maybe in a future episode. Yeah, nice try.
But it's those kinds of things, it's just being in a place that is completely out of your element and having this birthday party in Brazil, and you'll never forget that feeling of just pure joy.
Yeah, I think that when I thought about it, that story does represent happiness and joy. And just now really reflecting upon it makes me happy, you know.
I have a story like that too. Kenny and I were traveling through Cambodia on a trip a while ago, and these kids were playing soccer in the street, and they were having the most fun. And you know how like when kids just like all kind of run in like a herd together, and I will never forget hearing they're just laughing, and they, you know, I was the tallest woman they had ever seen, so they had, you know, they wanted to like pull me in on the game, and just running around with these little kids, kind of communicating with them, but just having fun in the middle of Cambodia, playing soccer. Again, I always feel like sports and music and food are kind of international languages, right? You can always kind of communicate with someone with one of those things, and I will never forget running around with those kids.
And how did you join in with them? I mean, that's, you know,
Kenny and I were on a tour, and we were visiting Kamal's village because we wanted to put a clean water system in the village. And so Kenny and I were just kind of touring around the village, and we heard these beautiful laughs, and me, you know, not shy, always curious, love kids, see soccer, love sports. So I was like, hey guys, what are you kids doing over here? Couldn't have been more generous, lovely, welcoming, and wanted to bring me into their community and into their game. And I will never forget that. That's one of, you know, we're talking about experiences and all of the places that we've been to, and it's those little things, those smiles, those laughs, having those great things that we will never
and a bit of guts, I suppose. Like from your perspective, it would have been easy to say no. Oh my goodness, they may be loads better than me. They won't think I'm cool or whatever. But you took the risk and joined them.
Well, so. I think one of the great things is like you saying yes to going into the favela. You just have to sometimes just say yes.
Yeah.
Because
just say yes.
Just say yes. You can be on an experience or be on an adventure, and sometimes you just have to say yes. Speaking of saying yes, we were filming in Toronto, and on the itinerary is hanging off of the CN Tower. And I didn't want to do it, but I said yes. And it was a very interesting experience being up there in Toronto. By the way, Toronto I had one of the best meals I've ever had in Toronto at a Chinese restaurant. It was like a dim sum restaurant, and I cannot believe I cannot remember the name, but Toronto really blew my mind. Toronto was awesome. We went to the aquarium, we hung off the CN Tower, we took a tour of the Chinatown. Everyone couldn't have been cooler. We were in like the Kensington neighborhood, which is kind of like that Haight-Ashbury neighborhood of Toronto. It was awesome. I love Toronto. Toronto, I'm coming back for you. Soon as this is over, I'm coming back. Tell me another experience that you've had that just really stuck with you.
Well, let's switch country now. Let's come to where I am. So I'm in Mallorca, and I was doing research for this book that I've just finished writing. It's not out yet, but it's called Faces of Mallorca, and it's all about the different personalities here in Mallorca. And I'd had this fantasy since a really young age, just to go out fishing with a fisherman on his boat, like a proper fisherman. And I got to do it. The old boats here in Mallorca, they're called yachts. And they're like little wooden boats that are very modest, very simple. And I got to go out with my co-writer on this boat, and these with 3 or 4 guys. These guys, their faces withered, they're wrinkly, their nails like full of tobacco. These men have lived. They've lived a life at sea, you know. And so we go out at 4:30 in the morning. It's freezing cold. And we're going out and out, further out to sea. And before we even get to where the fish is, we start to see the sunrise. And to see the sunrise through the fish nets was just the most poetic, beautiful moment. The sky just got completely lit up. And it was like a magical moment. And then they fought with the winches or the whatever to get the nets in. And you had loads of squid and everything else, this rainbow of trout and salmon. And, well, not salmon, but I'm not very hot on the fish, but a real medley of different fish. And I guess it's just an experience that's so different to my day-to-day existence. Do you know what I mean? That it stuck with me. So that was really about adventure. That was almost like living out a childhood fantasy, and I guess stepping into somebody else's life. You know, what have I got in common with a fisherman? Like nothing, but and that's his day every single day. That's their day. Just to have one day's living with a fisherman. I
have a question.
It was just.
How did you get to Mallorca in the first place?
Originally, I got offered a role here, and then when that finished, I kind of asked myself the question that if my life stopped in a couple of years, what would I really, really, really want to do? And it was a couple of things. Write a photo book. So I'm also a photographer, and I've been doing that with a friend. And the other thing was to present, and that opportunity, presented itself. I've for years trained leaders and companies how to present, but to have the opportunity myself to actually combine the presenting with a passion that's travel was incredible. So the last 18 months deliberately has been kind of living my passion. And it's been incredible. And that's led to us being here, having this kind of a conversation, reminiscing about our magical memories and experiences.
Because you said yes.
I said yes, yeah.
Say yes. I think this experience also this time has made us really think about kind of our experiences that we've had and all of the adventures and experiences that we want to have in the future, right?
Yeah.
That we're kind of having this time to reminisce on all the incredible times that we've had. I mean, I think it's amazing that we are in this time right now and able to share with our viewers how wonderful the world is. So before I forget, I want everyone, if you guys have any questions from 2 travel experts, 2 travel writers, journalists, where do you guys want to go? Where do you guys want us to talk about? Maybe between Mark and I, we have been there. Do you guys have just any questions or ideas or experiences that you want to share with us so that we can talk about it next?
Yeah, and can I make a personal request here?
Of course.
Hello, viewers. We want you to share experiences that have lit you up, that maybe have changed the way you think about travel, that maybe have created a new connection with somebody in another country, where, like Nikki's describing, I'm describing, you look back on these and go, wow, I wouldn't stop that for ages. And maybe we'll read these and share some of the best ones, Nikki, ones that really move and touch us.
I know, because it also makes it's nice to look forward to something. Like,
yeah.
I cannot wait to start traveling again. I can't wait to go out to dinner
again.
Are
we gonna do a joint shoot? Are we gonna do Morocco together?
100%. 100%. Mark, Mark, do you have any more experiences?
I would like. There's a final story. This, in a way, is boring. It's uneventful. It's not very adventurous, but it's very, very meaningful to me. And again, it was in Brazil. About halfway in, I went traveling around the northwest of Brazil, so São Luís, Jericoacoara, Fortaleza, Natal, and I ended up in this little town called Maciel. And I was kind of exhausted. I arrived on a Saturday afternoon, and it was coming to Saturday evening. And I stayed in a simple youth hostel, which had a garden. And I thought that I'm actually too exhausted to go out on a Saturday night. I'm just going to stay in, read a book, do whatever. And bizarrely enough, for a youth hostel, this sea of female OAPs arrived. They're like in their 70s. And they were having a great time. I said hello to a few of them. And they all went out to play bingo or something, apart from one. One old lady stayed behind. And I thought, and I shared with you the struggle that I'm terrible at languages. So for me to master any level of Portuguese took a lot. And I said, would you like to join me for a glass of wine? And we sat out in the garden and we talked for 3.5 hours. This lady had the patience of a saint. She couldn't speak a word of English. So it was all Portuguese, but it was like, it's really nice to meet you. Where do you come from? And like, if you want to learn a language, speak with old people who've got just so much time and patience. But I think the feeling that I had, I mean, I was getting to know this lady in her life, but it was such a feeling of pride that I'd actually learnt enough Portuguese to be able to communicate with a real Brazilian.
Isn't that the best feeling though?
It was really, really special. It was really special.
I think learning a new language, and then once you kind of get a grasp a little bit, and then utilizing that, and then like you're thinking in different ways and you're speaking in different ways, I think is so amazing. I think everyone should learn another language because it forces you to use your brain in different ways, and it also just exposes you to so many different interesting people, right?
Yeah. You said your Spanish is pretty good. Is that right?
No, mi español es muy bien.
Oh, muy bien.
Pero, espera.
Yeah, before we launch into a fluent conversation in Spanish.
I have a question for you, Mark, from one of our viewers. Michelle Beaver wants to know, what country would Mark really love to go to? And overseas challenges have changed me. Would you ever want to? So first, Michelle would like to know what country Mark would really love to go to.
I'd love to go to Japan.
Yeah.
I've never been to Japan, and as I shared when we last spoke, I've experienced elements of Japan, like the culture, the cuisine, the sushi in Sao Paulo is incredible. So to actually have a little bit of time in Japan would be amazing.
I'm with you. Japan looks awesome.
Yeah, really
History
awesome.
of Japan.
And
just the samurai and all the everything. I know. Very cool.
Yeah.
I think Japan for me too, and I'm New Zealand. I am way into New Zealand. I want to go to an All Blacks rugby game.
Oh yeah.
When they do the haka before the game, I get all kinds of excited. I would love to go explore New Zealand, Japan, Iceland, as we all know, everywhere at this point.
Yeah. Everywhere and anywhere. I know.
Everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, thank you so much. Before we go, please tell everyone where they can find you online and on social media stuff.
So the best is my Instagram, which is Mark Julian Edwards.
Okay.
Really simple. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excellent. And tell me about your book. When does the book come out?
The book is with the publishers now. It's been paused because of the current situation, but we're hoping in the next two months it should be coming out. It's called Faces of Mallorca, and it's just really a series of beautiful portraits. It's mainly letting the photographs. The intention is to tell the story of Mallorca through the people, So you'll see a story of quite high-end people like Tony Nadal, the trainer and uncle of Rafa Nadal. But then at the same time, you'll meet that fisherman, or you'll meet a nun, a silent nun, and all these people. So it's meant to be a work of art, a thing of beauty, and really to do justice to Mallorca.
It sounds like it's kind of your love letter to your new home.
Well, yeah, and we'll talk about it another time because it's something that's poured a lot of hours and passion into, and yeah, it's just been magical. I could talk just about Mallorca for 3 hours with you, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, we will see you next time. Let me see if we have any more questions. Oh, yes, we do. Mark, hold please. Mark, what is your favorite country you have visited? That is Edward Wentworth-Shaw.
That's so difficult. We were sort of having a conversation about this last time, weren't we? My favorite country that I visited. Oh my god! How much time have we got? It's a combination between Argentina and Israel.
Ooh.
With Israel, there's like I'm Jewish, and there's a lot of spiritual connection with that place, and the chutzpah of the people, and what the hell are you doing? And let me set you up with this person, like in your faceness that is not me, but I love it as a quality. In Argentina, like I shared, I've lived in places for years, but in Argentina I was there for a week. But the week that I had in Argentina left a very strong impression with me. As a man, I'd be going with my friend James, walking the streets, and other men would stop their cars, saying, "Where are you going to? Let's help you get there." And they would take. And as a guy, the world isn't quite as welcoming as it is to women, and but the opposite was true there. I just felt like an honored guest. Mm-hmm. And even in the way men greet each other, they kiss. Normally in most of our societies, men and women kiss, but men don't really kiss each other, and they do in Argentina. And I think, I'm no professor, but I think psychologically with that, it means we can all have a close relationship. So that was very special. But then India, oh my god, like half my friends are Indian. It's weird, I don't know why, but India is also very, very special to me because of the warmth, the connectedness, the caring. It's really, really strong there.
It sounds like you just keep adding. I love that you just add these places that have such a special place in your heart. It's hard to choose which one is your favorite because they all have a piece of your heart.
But I think everybody watching, and I don't know about you, Nikki, we all have a favorite. It's something where either it's really different to who we are, and that's interesting, or there's something about the place that feels familiar already.
I was just thinking, when I went to Scotland, I was like, oh, here I am. Oh, here I am. I'm back. There was something about Scotland that got into my bones. I loved everything about Scotland, and I had this very familiar...
What was it? Can you think what it was? Or?
I mean, I might have been there in a past life, or I am Scottish also, so I just knew my people, but there was something about the air and how there were 5,000 different shades of green there, and the people who were so proud to be Scottish and were so stoked that I was there, and I was stoked to be there, so they were ultra pumped. Scotland has a very, very kinetic, awesome place in my heart. I love Scotland. But
Nikki, you know what we could do, Nikki?
Yeah.
We could, or you could, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Oh, yes, I've been.
You've been?
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing,
we should
right?
cover it.
Yes. Yes. How amazing is that?
That was I have seen some of the most interesting things.
So we should say what the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is, so for people who don't know. So once a year, Edinburgh opens its arms and welcomes visitors from around the world. And is it for a month and a half?
I think it's for a good month.
Yeah, it just has a series of performances. I think comedy is the main thing, but there's also straight plays as well. But it's also the conversations that you have with people in the sandwich shop, in the bar, in the pub, in between
after the show, because there could be 150 performances all in one day, and you can just go through the itinerary and kind of choose what you want to see. And some of the plays are 5 minutes long. There are some kind of just visual performances that are 2 hours long. It's all kinds of things from all over the world. And I saw some of the most amazing human artistic expression I have ever seen in my entire life. You really get the kind of the best of people's creativity all in one place, and you're in Scotland. It was amazing. That is September.
Oh, crikey. Is it August, September? I think it's around that time.
I feel like it's like the end of, because my birthday is August 23rd, and I went to Glen Eagles around the same time. So I'm thinking, can someone out there verify when the Fringe Festival is, so we gotta get
we need to up our production game and have an assistant here to Google and verify.
Where's my intern?
I know.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us
today.
It's always a pleasure talking to you and sharing our travel experiences and our love for different people and cultures.
Likewise.
With viewers. So next time we are going to talk about language and different cultures. But I really want everyone, we have the time, pick up a new language. That's what everybody should do. Don't you think so?
People who know me is a bit of a hypocrite because I am so bad languages, and my Spanish is even worse despite the fact that I'm spending a lot of time in Spain. Yes, I do, and yes, I need to try harder.
That can be everyone's homework assignment until the next time we meet.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Nikki.
Bye.
Lovely to see you. Bye, everybody.